Okay, so we are doing a Doom 3 tier list, which we're doing every demon in the game, every enemy in the game ranked, and then all the weapons ranked. So the first one on this list, not in actual order of when you encounter them, is the Cacodemon. If this was designs, this would go in F tier because they horribly redesigned the Cacodemon. But the Cacodemon is also not very difficult because of how Doom 3's engine works. When it floats, if you hit it with the chain gun or the plasma gun, it's going to tip basically, and you can destroy its fireballs midair, and the fireballs are pretty large. So I will put it in D tier because it also doesn't have much health. Now the commandos. There are two forms of commandos. I'm not actually sure. Okay, so this is the tentacle commando. It will basically throw its tentacle out after you, and if you're close enough, it will punch and kick you. All you need to do is duck under him and then just fire him with like a plasma gun or the chain gun. But he goes in C tier because he can do significant damage. The Cyber Demon, which is the final boss of the game, is one of the most disappointing final bosses in any video game because it's really easy to defeat because you have to use the Soul Cube. If you don't know how that works, you have to charge it up by killing five things. You can kill demons, you can kill dead corpses, I think also count. Anything alive, actually, I think counts for the Soul Cube. But it keeps, and you can only hurt the Cyber Demon with the Soul Cube. The thing is, the only enemies around to charge it up are two of the easiest enemies in the game. So it's just not much of a challenge. F tier. Trites. Trites are in D tier. They are swarming enemies. They are spiders with upside down faces. They're tied with a couple enemies for the lowest health pool in the game. But like I said, not much health, not very difficult. But if they do corner you, and with how Doom 3's screen jolt works, every time you get hit, your screen jolts to the side, they can be very difficult to take out. The Guardian of Hell, the boss in the Hell level. Not very difficult if you find the BFG 9000, and not very difficult if you don't find the BFG 9000. But its attacks can sometimes throw you off the map, especially in the Lost Mission campaign. The final boss is not difficult at all, but I've had a couple times where it's just launched me off the side of the level. Hell Knights. Hell Knights usually appear in the later half of most games. They're just basically large tanky imps. They're not super difficult, especially if you have the shotgun or the chain gun, or for that matter, the plasma gun. Even with those three weapons, you can easily take them out. But I'm going to put them in C tier, just because if you do get hit by one of their attacks, it is devastating. Next is imps, D tier. Imps are the most abundant enemy in the original campaign. In the two newer campaigns, you won't find them as often, especially the Lost Mission, just because it's a shorter campaign, and Resurrection of Evil because of an enemy that's probably on this list called the Vulgars. They're not super difficult. They usually attack in 1, 2, or maybe even 3 of them, but they're usually just one-tapped by the shotgun, but you will see them in every single level of the game, even the final boss of Doom 3, and this is the Doom 3 campaign, not the other 2 side campaigns. Now the Mancubus. In Doom 3, you only see them in 2 levels. You see 3 of them in the recycling center too, and then you only see a couple of them in the Hell level. They have the largest health pool of any non-boss enemy. So I gotta move them up manually. They are tanky, and especially paired with an enemy they're usually paired with called the Cherubs, they can be a pretty big hassle to take out, but I'm going to put them in C tier. Next is the Pinky Demon. You don't see them often in the game, but I'm going to put them in C tier because of how the screen jolt works. If they hit you, the screen jolts so much, However, when you get the chainsaw, they are easy to defeat. But especially their first encounter, if you don't know the correct strategy, it can be pretty overwhelming. Vagary. I'm going to put the Vagary in B tier. The Vagary, you fight 3 of them in the main campaign and 1 of them in the Lost Mission. The Lost Mission one you fight in the Hell level. And in Doom 3, you fight 1 of them as a boss fight in Alpha Lab Sector 4, and then you fight 2 more of them in the second to last level of the game before the final boss. The first time you face them, you face her. It's a pretty difficult fight because she uses telekinesis to throw different rocks and stuff at you. And if you're low on health, which you probably shouldn't be because there's a health station just before the fight, she can be pretty difficult. In the final level, or the final encounter of them, in the 2 of them you fight in the caverns, since you have the BFG and a soul cube, they're easy to take out. And the one you fight in Lost Mission can be a little bit deadly because of the cherubs, and I'll get to what the cherubs are later. In fact, they're pretty close up. Chain Gunners are going in B tier. Chain Gunners are devastating. So there are enemies in this game called Z-Sec. Z-Sec or MarSec, but now Z-Sec, Zombified Security, have a machine gunner. However, the machine gunner actually has to reload their weapon, and they'll stop shooting after a certain time. The Commando doesn't stop shooting, and with Doom 3's Screen Jolt, it's a little less severe with hit scanning enemies, but for the Commandos, it can be very difficult to take them out, and plus they have such a large health pool. They are not to attack if you have low health. If you have a good amount of health, then you can take one on. But if you have probably below 40 health, it'll either kill you or it will take you down significantly. Z-Sec pistols, F tier. Not very difficult. They do 1 damage, and they don't have a large amount of health. That is the pistol zombie. Now the cherubs. Cherubs are going into C tier. Cherubs they don't have much health, but basically they lunge at you, and their lunge attack has a pretty far reach. And they do a good amount of damage, and if they corner you, unlike with Trites, if they corner you, it's really difficult to get out. And the fact that they are such a small enemy, their hitbox is so small, so it's very difficult to get a good shot on them with pretty much any weapon in the game. Archviles. So Archviles don't work like they used to. Instead of resurrecting enemies, because they can't, because most enemies just disappear, they actually just summon enemies and use a fire attack, and if you're too close, they'll scratch you. They are relatively tanky. I think about 2 shotgun shells can take them out. However, most of the time you fight an Archvile, it's set up in such a way that you'll usually have a soul cube charge. But if you have low health, don't even bother trying to fight one of these. I'm gonna put them in C tier, because if you have a soul cube charge, they're easy. If you don't, they can be rather difficult. Lost Souls. Lost Souls go into D tier. They don't appear much. They're a pretty rare enemy. You'll encounter them a lot in their intro level, which is the Emperor facility. You'll encounter them a lot in Hell, and after, I think, the Hell level, you don't fight a Lost Soul for the rest of the campaign. They're not super difficult. They're tied with Trites and Ticks, I think, for the lowest health pool in the game. But their damage output is pretty small. The only problem is they have a pretty small hitbox. You shouldn't have too much of a problem with Lost Souls, unless there's a specific point in the Doom 3 Hell level that I've gotten knocked off by Lost Souls because of the pushback. Machine Gunner Z-Secs. C tier. They're the easier version of the Commandos, but still pretty difficult, except they usually duck down and hide under cover, so they don't consistently keep firing. Next is Possessed Zombies. F tier, because they don't do anything other than just slowly walk up to you. They do have a high damage output, but they don't do anything, really. most of the time you fight them, especially in the Delta Complex, you're so buffed up at that point, just before the Hell level, you're so, like, beefy at that point, that they're really just there for aesthetic. Like, especially in Delta Lab Sector 2A, they are just purely aesthetic. They're not meant to kill you. Next is the Chainsaw Zombie, which is F tier because you fight like 5 of them in the entire game. They're not very difficult. They just have a lot of health. Maggots, also in F tier. They are fireless imps, and usually one shotgun blast takes them out. They're not difficult, and they are completely unnecessary. Revenants. If this was a design aspect, this is my favorite enemy, probably in any Doom game. The Archvile is my favorite, but in terms of just Doom 3, this definitely has my favorite design. The Revenants look awesome in this game because they're not super doofy like they are in every Doom game. This time they're more menacing. I'm going to put them in C tier. I don't know what just happened. Oh, there we go. It's working again. Yeah, not C tier. Actually, yeah, C tier. They fire 2 rockets most of the time, and they home in on you. You can destroy them in midair, but if you're too close up to a Revenant, it'll try and punch you. But its health pool is mediocre, so 2 shotgun blasts, or the double barrel shotgun in the other 2 campaigns, usually is enough to take one of them out, but they do have a good amount of damage output. Now is Sergeant Kelly, or his boss form, Sabath. Sergeant Kelly helps you out through most of the Alpha Labs and the Empro plant until you get to the communications. You won't see him until the Delta Labs, the first Delta Labs level. And then the next time you see him, he is a deformed tank human being. He's going in F tier because of a specific way to deal with him. You just fire a Soul Cube charge, and then you fire 5 rockets in a row, and then you win. That is it. If you have your Soul Cube charge, he is no challenge whatsoever. Next is the Bony Zombie, F tier. It's literally just a zombie with larger health. Shotgunners. Now, Shotgunners are going to go in A tier. Shotgunners are a part of the Z-Sec group, and with the shotgun, they have such a large pushback with their hit, and they do so much damage on Veteran and Nightmare difficulty. They're almost impossible to take out without taking a huge hit of damage, especially because you fight so many of them so early on in the game. You don't have many good weapons against them because most of the early game is imps, maggots, Z-Secs. That is really just the entirety of the Alpha Labs and a couple possesseds. Ticks. I don't know where I put the traits. I'm pretty sure I put them in D tier. The Ticks, you will fight them once in the entire campaign, just after the Hell level in Delta Lab Sector 5. That is where you fight them. And then you won't fight them for the rest of the campaign, and you fight them, I think, in Delta Labs in the Hell level in Resurrection of Evil. I don't understand the purpose of them, because they only appear that one time. However, there is a glitch with this enemy in Doom 3. I don't know exactly how it's triggered, but sometimes one tick just won't die. And no matter how much, because it's, once again, tied for the lowest health pool, but at some point, one of the ticks just doesn't die, even if you use the Soul Cube. So I don't know what that's about. It can be quite annoying. I wish they would fix it, but again, Doom 3 BFG Edition is a 14-year-old game, so I doubt that would happen. More possessed, but these are the fat possessed zombies. They just have more health. They're in F tier. Wraiths, D tier. They teleport. They're basically just maggots, but they teleport like 5 feet in front of them to reach you. I don't understand their purpose. But they do have a devastating attack. Well, not very devastating, but it can do a bit of damage. Fire zombies, once again, F tier. Most zombies don't really have anything. Same with the shield zombies. These guys have so much potential, but they appear they appear in communications in Doom 3, and you won't find them for the rest of the game. I don't understand what Doom 3 is in its, one-timer enemies, or enemies that, it looks like, oh, it's this cool new enemy. And then that's the one time you fight them. I don't know why there's another thing of Possessed, and the Morgue, all in F tier. Seekers. Seekers help the Guardian of Hell boss fight. You have to kill them. to actually hurt the Guardian of Hell, but they don't actually directly attack you. They can be kind of annoying to take out, but if you have the BFG, you probably won't even have to fight the Seekers. The Bruisers. Bruisers don't appear in the main game. They appear in the... they appear a couple times in Lost Mission, and only a couple times... I think only 3 of them are in Lost Mission. But anyways, it's a Mancubus combined with a Hell Knight. They can be pretty devastating. They are probably one of the more intimidating enemies in the game. But since you don't fight them much, I'm only going to put them in C tier. I don't know why they're in D tier. I think that, yeah, that's the Berserk enemy. The Berserk boss in Resurrection of Evil. D tier. None of the Resurrection of Evil bosses are difficult. Invulnerability is not very difficult. Forgotten Ones. They are lost souls. But they look more like lost souls in the original Doom game. They're just a redesign. Vulgars. They are imps, but they throw larger fireballs. D tier. The Helltime Hunter is annoying to defeat, but not very difficult. C tier. The Maledict. C tier because of how the game is set up, and when you have the artifact in Resurrection of Evil, it's so easy. Hazmat zombies, they actually just end up really helping you, and they're also an F tier. Adore, F tier. Unless that's that one door that leads you to your death, but that's F tier because I don't think doors attack you in this game. Is the door in it? Oh, this is the segment of the game. This is the segment of the list where it ranks the weapons. So this is technically the flashlight. I'm putting it in F tier because I've only played the BFG edition, so I haven't had that flashlight mechanic. So I can't really say much on it. The grabber gun is going in D tier because I hate it. The chainsaw is going in S tier because it's way too overpowered. The BFG is also going in S tier, same with the rocket launcher. The Berserk appears like a few times in the game, and it's kind of disappointing. The shotgun, it's not the greatest shotgun, but it's highly hated, so it goes into A tier. I don't even know what the next weapon is, because I can't really see. Oh, it's the machine gun. B tier, because once you get the chain gun, there's no point in ever going back to that machine gun, really. Unless for smaller enemies. And then the plasma gun. And then the pistol, I mean, you won't use it for, like, 95% of every campaign. Grenades go into C tier because they're not very practical. And then I don't know what... Oh, the double barrel shotgun, that's just S tier. Alright, there you go. That's the ranking.